Hi, this is Yash, or Huncho Vids. This is my second YouTube video, and I'm going to be answering some questions I got in my first YouTube video. I'm going to be focusing on the maintenance questions today, and ironically, I'm making this video now because I just had a huge maintenance issue that cost me quite a bit. We'll get into it. First thing I should mention is that I'm just a person with a lot of experience with this specific car. I'm not an auto mechanic, and I'm here to help people who are looking to either get into this car or already have this car and just want to know what to look out for. The car in question is my 2010 Mercedes W212 E550 4MATIC. Right off the bat, I just want to say I love this car. The sheer pleasure I get from driving this car makes any headache that I've ever had because of it completely worth it. That being said, it is a Mercedes, and this car is getting up there in years. This is a 2010, so it's damn near 12 years old. We'll go over each topic briefly. I don't intend on making this a very long video, so if you have specific questions, please leave them in the comments and I'll try to answer them the best I can. First thing I want to talk about are the regularly scheduled A and B services, which happen about every 10,000 miles. I don't recommend you actually take them to a Mercedes dealership. I think they cut corners and they don't use the best product. I go online, I look for shops or certified technicians, and I take my car to them. I highly recommend doing that. Personally, I always contact Adam in SoCal Tires studio. That's just me. Next, as some of you may know, is that this car has air suspension. Any air suspension over time will leak. So this car, according to forums, will start leaking air at around 100,000 miles. My car did. I have already replaced the bags, but probably will need to again in the future. I don't think the coilover option, which is an option, is the best. I think the air suspension really does its job well and it's worth the price to maintain, but that's just my opinion. The starter and the steering fluid pump aren't the best on this car. In fact, there's a recall on the steering fluid pump. I've had to replace my starter twice and I've only had this car for 70,000 miles. And I also hear a noise from the steering fluid pump when the car is stationary and I'm turning the steering wheel. Next, I'll talk about the transmission issues. This is an automatic 7-speed transmission. It's an enclosed system, and it is a bit proprietary, so you really can't take it to get serviced to anywhere besides Mercedes, and even when it is at Mercedes, it's overly complicated and it costs a lot of money. Don't get me wrong, I've had no problem, and I think this 7-speed is the best transmission I've ever had in a car. It's so smooth, it's quick when you need it, and it's served me well. That being said, I was stuck, unable to move my car because a servo that controls the transmission blew out. That meant I was able to start the car, but the second I tried to put it into gear, that servo was serving no signals to the transmission, and so the transmission didn't do anything. To make it better, when I finally took it to Charlie's Foreign Car Service, which is a great shop by the way, they told me that technology is proprietary, which means they need to send my license, a copy of my license and registration, to Mercedes, then it had to be processed, then I could order the part, then it could be installed. It was just a headache. Another headache are tow trucks. This is an all-wheel drive car, and when you have it lowered like I do, not a lot of tow trucks can actually deal with it without tearing up your front end. To make it better, when your transmission goes out and you can't go into neutral, like I couldn't, you need to find a tow truck that can lift up the front end while also putting skates under the rear wheels, which not a lot of tow trucks can do. TLDR, get AAA, they know what they're doing. Some of you might mention that most Mercedes have a way of putting the car into neutral while it isn't on, and that's a button in the center console. This car doesn't have that feature because this year they moved the shifting knob from the center console to behind the steering console. And finally, like most Mercedes that are getting old, there's just some weird electronic issues that pop up sometimes. Like I've had to replace the motor that rolls up my passenger window. I've had to replace the motor that moves my sunroof. I currently have a tail light that doesn't have a turn signal working. So just know that that's out there. Alright, thanks for watching. I know I didn't get to all the questions from that first video, but I will soon. And I hope to see you next time.